Maybe you guys want to see how to make chicken pot pie. I don't know. I found some phyllo dough and some chicken breast. So I got a pre-made crust, and then I'm gonna put the phyllo dough on the top. It's the first time I've made it this way. I've made chicken pot pie a million times, but I've never made it with phyllo dough on the top. Got 2 chicken breasts that I pulled out of the freezer yesterday. We're gonna saute that in olive oil. I'm gonna chop up half of an onion that I had left over. Mixed vegetables. Good thing about frozen vegetables versus canned vegetables, if you look at the ingredients, it's just vegetables. Most canned stuff, like I did get canned potatoes because I felt like I wanted potatoes in my, I don't know. And if you look at this, it's got calcium chloride in it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. But, so that's why I steer away from canned goods. But like I always say, you can't get away from everything. So just cut yourself a little bit of slack and try to be as limited ingredient as possible. All right, so my oil's heated up. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw our onions in. And then for seasonings, I always put basil on white things. It kind of, I have these rules that I go by. But basil on white things and garlic on green things. So I put basil on my chicken. Turmeric I use on everything. And then, of course, black pepper to go with the turmeric to activate it. And we're going to use a pinch of garlic powder. I don't have much left. And then soy sauce. This is how I make chicken and make it taste good. I'll show you. I call it soy sauce chicken. So I think I'm going to go ahead and throw my chicken on because it's pretty much all going the same place. And are you team rinse or team no wash the chicken? Leave it in the comments. Heavy on the turmeric, love it, anti-inflammatory. I put it on everything. And I think that's why, you know, I'm older, but I don't have arthritis. I don't have a lot of issues because I heavily rely on turmeric. Always use black pepper with it to activate it. We're gonna put basil on our chicken. A little garlic powder. Well, the rest of it, because that's all I got left. And then what I do is, instead of salt, I put a little bit of soy sauce. And this gives the chicken like wonderful depth of flavor. You'll notice the difference. It's a little bit more sodium than salt. So if you have issues, I would be careful with it, but it's gonna taste delicious. Put a lid on this and just kind of let it go on low, medium heat. Turn it every now and then until the chicken is cooked. So chicken is done and shredded, and we have all of this goodness left over. So we're gonna use that to make our sauce. So I'm going back up on medium heat, and I'm just gonna pour a little bit of water just to deglaze and get all the tasty bits off of the bottom, because that's gonna give us immense flavor to our sauce. So we're gonna deglaze, and then we're gonna add our vegetables, and then I have a can of cream of celery soup. Now you can do this without using the condensed soup. You could just use chicken stock, and you can use the chicken stock to deglaze. But I'm using what I have on hand. So I got cream of celery, so I'm using cream of celery soup first. And then we're gonna get that soup dissolved a little bit and add our vegetables. All right, soup is looking pretty mixed in. I added a little bit more water. So now I'm just gonna put in our vegetables. And then I'm gonna also add a little bit of seasonings and the chicken, and I'll show you how to fill. 2 pie crusts, and I went ahead and cut a couple of slits in the bottom. And normally I'll use a double pie crust on chicken pot pie, but since I found these in the freezer, these are phyllo dough sheets, and I found a recipe online. So I'm gonna try to make the crust on top out of these. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna get it set up. All right. And this stuff apparently is pretty particular. And it dries out really quick. And I've seen some people that like crumble it up and then dip it in butter and then put it on the top, but I don't know. So essentially what I'm gonna do is make some layers with this. And I have a little bit of olive oil and melted butter. So you're gonna pretty like butter your layers. So I'm gonna do that. And then we'll fill our pies and put them in the oven. And they're gonna be delicious because the filling, just wait till you guys see it. It's beautiful. Okay, so apparently you take one sheet. And I've never done this before. One sheet, and you lay it down and you brush it with oil. And I don't have a pastry brush, so I just use the back of a spoon. So you do this, and then you make 5 layers, 4 to 5. Some people say 4, some people say 5 layers for each pie on the top. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come back when it's time to plate to put the, yeah. All right, so we have our super tasty pie filling here, and it has potatoes and green beans and all kinds of good stuff. And that chicken, soy sauce chicken. So we're just gonna fill up both of these. I mean, this is some really good filling. You could almost eat this with rice. It's really good. So you just want to distribute it amongst the 2 pies evenly. Like so, like that. I'm going to put that on top. And we're just going to tuck it down. And I think we're going to trim off the excess. So I'm going to do the other pie and then I'll come back. All right, so we're going to trim the excess. This stuff is like paper, it's so thin. And I have my oven preheated to 375. We're just gonna put a couple of holes in the top for the air to escape. And this is what we're working with. Lots of olive oil glaze on the top. It's gonna brown up beautifully. So I'm gonna put them in the oven and I'll show you when it's done. Or 25 minutes at 375 and we're done. And we're just gonna let it sit so all the juices can come together and then we'll cut it up. Yum. Looks a little crude on the top, but it's delicious.